So even though it's super simple in Excel, I wanted to show you also how to do it in Statcrunch, the one-way ANOVA, because it is really simple. So I have copied and pasted here my lovely advertisements, Muzak, and classical column. I go to Stat, and I go to ANOVA. I pick one way, like that. And then I'm going to tell it which columns I want it to compare. So I want it to compare advertisements, Muzak, and classical. So I tell it that. And then I can go to calculate. And there we go. And look, the F's test statistic right there, 6.43. The p-value is 0.0126. All the stuff is the same as it was when I did it in Excel. Right? It's very, very simple both ways. Luckily, the computer programs really are good about running in one-way ANOVA. All right, so then, now that we've run the one-way ANOVA, what's the next thing? Oh, okay, so often you'll be asked to read a computer printout. This is actually a different program than Excel or Statcrunch. It's called Minitab. So you have to kind of search around for things like, see the there it is. 6.43 is right up there. There's the p-value, 0.013, right? What are the important pieces needed in order to perform the ANOVA test? Well, we need to know F, which is 6.43, right, which is our test statistic. So you got to find that. Then you got to find the p-value, which is also really important, which is 0.013. And then this particular thing, oh, and I talked about it right here, there's a sort of graph drawn, which is really nice. Minitab does this. And it's showing you, look, here's the distribution of classical, here's the distribution of Muzak, here's the distribution of advertisements. So you can kind of see the distributions for each one of the groups. So it's a visual representation of the spread, the variability, i.e. spread, i.e. variance, right? It's analysis of variance for each of the three groups. You can see from the picture that Muzak and ads overlap a lot. Classical and ads overlap as well. Right? See how their confidence intervals are overlapping each other? That's what those are, by the way, CI's confidence intervals, just like in chapter 9 and 11. But classical and Muzak do not overlap at all. That would seem to tell us that the average wait time for Muzak is much lower than for classical music. And the next question is the same thing. It's a box plot picture of the same idea, right? So you have a box plot for ads, a box plot for Muzak, and a box plot for classical. And you can see the classical is so far separated from the Muzak. It's like a box plot picture of the same thing, right? Matter of fact, I can copy and pretty much paste that in. Now, how would you get box plots like that? Well, it wouldn't be too hard to do. You can go to Statcrunch. And remember, we learned box plots and graphics. You pick box plot. You pick the columns you want, which would be advertisements, Muzak, classical. Next. And let's just create graph and see what happens. See, there you go. See how classical is so much higher than Muzak. And you could, of course, copy and paste that into any Excel spreadsheet you have. Okay? But it shows you the same thing. It's showing you that classical is significantly higher than, well, it's much higher than Muzak, right? Significantly higher than Muzak. And it's a bit higher than advertisements, but it's not statistically significant because they're overlapping. This whisker up here overlaps with that whisker down there. All right, we are all done with section 13.1. See you, bye.